Hey there guys, this is Teacher or TJ, whichever one which you choose. Pick your poison. They all work. Now today, this is going to be a little bit different now. This one's very last minute. I recently got a comment under was it my last upload? I'm not sure, but it was recent. But either way, it was recommending this video, and I thought it seemed pretty interesting, so let's go ahead and tackle this. So, without further ado, let's go and dive right into it, shall we? I've actually watched a little bit of Voracity magazine. I've never watched her videos, I'll be honest. I don't know if both of them talk on the videos or just one, but I have tuned into 2 live streams. Between the two, maybe a total of an hour. All of you may be a lot more familiar. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. This will be my first actual video. 3, 2, 1, bing!
In one of the latest episodes of Ryan Jin of BTS had 4 famous guests, a singer and 3 comedians. As comedians do, the first thing they do when they enter the room is joke about being there with ulterior motives. They each want to promote something. But this is no problem, a lot of guests do this. What has really started a lot of conversations within the BTS fandom is the reason why one of these comedians accepted the invitation.
진이하고 약간 사연이 좀 있는 게 셰프님 집에서 우리가 맛있는 거 먹으면서 얘기하다가 나한테 섭섭함을 한번 토론한 적이 있어.
제가요? 제가요?
기대가 있어야 섭섭한 거 아니에요?
그러니까 나도 BTS가 나한테 섭섭한 거.
너무 부럽다.
나 너무 궁금해, 뭐지?
예전에 뭐 어떤 방송에서
네.
나한테 인사를 했는데 내가 인사를 잘 안 받아서.
전혀 기억은 안 나는데 너무 하신 거 아니에요? 너무한 거 같아, 너무한 거.
그래서
내가 다 섭섭하다.
너무 섭섭하다.
다리에 힘 풀린 뒤도 앉았잖아. 내가 너에게. 그건 아니지. 그건 아니지. 근데 중요한 건 그것도 풀 겸. 바로 달려.
좋습니다.
This seems like it's not that big of a deal. This comedian is jokingly apologizing about a past awkward situation, and Jin is joking about it as well. This incident is so insignificant to Jin that he cannot even remember what happened, and he had no problem inviting this comedian to his show. So why is this moment being debated by fans? The answer is a little more complicated than it seems, so please let me finish the full idea. As BTS started growing in popularity, it only became more and more evident how truly extreme, normalized, and damaging power dynamics can be in the South Korean entertainment industry. Most K-pop fans are aware of the importance of respecting your seniors or sunbaenims that exists not just in K-pop but in South Korea. It's a cultural thing. It's in their language. It's in all their interactions. Most K-pop fans also know the power that the big 3 K-pop labels have. So we know that the ones with power because of age, popularity, or seniority deserve respect. Junior groups should bow down to their seniors and not lazily, or there can be a scandal. Now, none of this is being praised or criticized by fans. What is actually being talked about now is how this dynamic is perceived by the juniors, especially the juniors with no company seniors or any kind of power. Because BTS started with no popularity, seniority, money, or power, they were expected to accept humiliation by their seniors, to not complain about it, and to show respect either way. Of course, BTS were not the only group to receive this kind of treatment, but they are the only ones who were able to completely flip the dynamic and expose it fully. BTS became the biggest group not just in K-pop but in the world. So now, the seniors who humiliated them publicly or privately a decade ago seem forced to apologize. This creates a complicated and sometimes emotional layer to this very simple clip. Like I've mentioned, K-pop fans know about the ways in which seniors should be treated because seniors call juniors out when they don't do it. But how did the seniors treat the juniors back? In the case of BTS, the response they got when they first started was literally nothing. As artists with no power or fame, they were not approached by anyone around them. In their book Beyond the Story, BTS explains that they were given no attention at the award shows. They were dwarfed by countless established artists who were already beloved by the public. And because BTS was the only group from Big Hit Entertainment to attend, they did not have older colleagues from the company to introduce them to other artists. No one spoke to them, and they could not approach anyone. All they could do was attend the award shows, step onto the stage to give brief comments and thanks, and return straight to the dormitory. The first two BTS albums had low sales that kept increasing little by little. These albums also got good audience reception. But of course, none of these matters to the industry or to other K-pop groups who were light years above them. BTS explained that this indifference by the industry didn't stop them. Let's remember that this treatment was mostly behind the scenes. We didn't know this was going on. So BTS simply stayed silent and continued fighting. What truly shocked them was their first public humiliation. RM and Suga started their musical careers as underground rappers, and in some ways, they left this world to join BTS in the K-pop idol industry. This was not the easiest route to success though, because BTS's journey in the K-pop industry was so difficult. They lacked the resources and opportunities others had in the industry, and in many ways, they could have suffered less in the industry as independent artists or producers. But this risky decision and struggle didn't matter to their former friends from the rap scene. To them, BTS were just like the privileged idols from the big three, and they had to be called out. Ironically, BTS was not invited to many TV shows, so one of their first interviews was at a hip-hop podcast. This was the moment when RM and Suga were publicly insulted. They were accused of being sellouts, wearing makeup, performing as girls, and so much more.
방탄소년단이 무대에 올라갔을 때 분장을 한다는 또 메이크업을 하는 거에 대한
Oh yeah, we've seen this one.
아니 분장 그런 게 아니라 여자. 하고 싶은 게 뭐예요?
네?
하고 싶은 게 뭐예요?
유리한 머리를 오가면서 그러면서 곡을 써서 파는데 불구하고
그러면 지금은 약간 임시로 돈을 벌어서
아니요 그런 뜻은 아니죠. 그걸 바꾸고 싶었어요.
그걸 받고 싶었다. 뭘로?
제가
당시요? 미움도 없고 아무것도 없고 뭔가 그냥 같이 같은 길을 갈 수 있었던 사람들인데 뭔가 그 유혹을 못 이기고 같이 뭔가
All of this, of course, was excused and celebrated because this is how hip-hop is. And teenagers Suga and RM were ready to respond with songs directed at everyone who insulted them, including this rapper 10 years older than them. RM said, "Taking an insult like that to our faces and from someone in the same industry. That was when I learned how to respond when you're walking down the street and you get slapped in the face out of nowhere." Another irony is that a TV show finally reached out to RM and BTS, and it was to talk about this incident, which they accepted, by the way. Now, what intrigues me is once again, who are always the targets? There are many rappers in K-pop, and there are many underground rappers who become K-pop idols. But the ones who were called out were the easy targets, the unknown juniors, the nobodies. There is an underground rapper who in 2014 made a popular song dissing many K-pop rappers, although he became a big three K-pop idol himself just the next year. But that's besides the point. The interesting thing about this is that the K-pop rappers he dissed were always from small labels, never the big three, his real competition. So of course, he had
Hell no, dude. As an artist, like, being in rap, hip-hop, you know, it's down to its core. It's fun, it's about evolution, creativity, taking the things around you, life experiences, whatever. Not lying, but expanding the truth a little bit, you know. It's being a little bit over-exaggerate, just to give it a little extra oomph. And most of all, competition. Rap battles, calling out people, beef, it's dissing, it's all part of it. It's not like a bad part of it, but you can make it bad. This one, I cannot respect as an artist. Just, if you're part of, you know, this level, come after people on this level. You know, unless you just throw like a little jab or pun at someone below you. That's always been done throughout history. But that's like 3% of the artist's power that usually do that. The other 97%, they'll use it on people on their level or above to climb higher or to claim dominance on whatever level they are. But just going after the littler guys, nah. That doesn't sit well.
To this, RM and BTS. After BTS grew in popularity, the rapper was asked why he dissed them, but he just gave the microphone to his CEO who answered for him, saying that rappers diss each other. In 2024, 10 years after he dissed RM and BTS, the rapper admitted he was too scared of going after a big group.
그때 그런 게 있었거든요. 왜 엑소는 안 건드리? 그때 솔직한 답변으로 엑소를 건드리면 죽을 것 같으니까.
And this is something I don't see a lot of people talking about. It's true that diss tracks are part of hip-hop, and RM and Suga know that very well, but consistently going after small rappers completely unprovoked while purposefully avoiding confronting rappers from your same level of fame,
This
I would
dude's not a
say
true
it's
artist.
at the very least lame. But this pattern is common because it works. Some attribute the downfall and disbandment of certain small groups to these unprovoked confrontations by bigger artists. Just keep this in mind. The big three didn't debut any groups in 2013, so out of all these 2013 small groups, only BTS survived. And in a way, surviving gave them even more trouble because as the unwelcome guests, everything and everyone was against them. People wouldn't call them by their names. They referred to them as those bulletproof best guys. So of course, the only opportunities networks gave the unwelcome guests came with false pretenses. BTS was invited to perform a collaborative stage with a K-pop group 2 years their senior at the 2014 Mamas. However, this was marketed as a confrontation, not as the friendly collaborative stage they thought it would be. This trick came at the worst time for BTS. This was a somewhat small, stressful situation on top of a season full of false hope and disappointment. After the school trilogy, BTS prepared a project that put the future of their team on the line. Their first studio album, Dark and Wild, and its single, Danger. They went to the US to shoot their first show, American Hustle Life, while recording their album simultaneously in a garage. They wrote, recorded, and selected songs more diligently than ever. They planned their hardest choreography and then changed it again and again to perfection. They shoot their show until 8 p.m., then they practiced their performances all night and went to the accommodations at sunrise, covered in sweat. They slept for some hours and then they started shooting again. They were so sleepy, they used to sneak into the bathroom to take naps. However, their big project didn't receive any nominations. Suga said, "We suffered so much for it, so why?" About this era, their book says, the grueling practice sessions leading up to the Mama performance were not solely because of the friendly competition. BTS was truly desperate. J-Hope says, all those performances for Danger were really exhausting. When we had that comeback with Danger, releasing the Dark and Wild album, we'd done about 20 music show pre-recordings and then went to a different program where they announced first place. We were told we had to be there, so we went up there live completely out of it. Then it turned out we weren't even candidates for first place, which I think was a big shock. J-Hope's shock was not purely due to their performance on the rankings. V tentatively goes into further detail about the situation. It's fine if other teams are named as candidates for first place. We just need to work harder. But at the broadcasting stations, we'd always be the first to say hello and greet everyone, the seniors and the juniors alike. But some people just ignored us or passed right by, or mocked us for not being candidates for top place. After the broadcast, we all got into the event together. Someone was crying, someone was getting really mad, and someone just couldn't speak. That unspeakable disappointment and that tear-jerking emotion was too much. So the
Bro, at this point, well, back then, and even now as well, no, granted, I know a lot of, groups and artists and whatnot, but maybe not so much on the side of things where all of these groups have their moment or spotlight or coming up in, K-pop and whatnot. So much of it, especially from this side, from my point of view, it's the entertainment, appearance, status, that whole list that goes on. But one thing you won't find on that list is the true artistry, doing things for the music, putting in blood, sweat, and tears for the music. Exhausting yourself for the music. When you put the music first in this type of career, there's no reason not to acknowledge someone else. There's no reason not to do this or that. Now, granted, you don't have to do it, but like mocking or not acknowledging because you're not of a, top spot. I could be like the top of the tops, but I'd still, my best friend might be, I may make a new best friend that's at the bottom of the bottoms, and they may help them come to the top of the tops. Who knows? But yeah, if you're really, think about the music and it's genuine and pure, there's no reason why you should have a mindset like that. But that's just me. Like I said, especially, on the rap side of things, dissing, whatnot, obviously that's going to come. But if status, money and the public, what they think, and all these, being top of the tops, if that stuff comes before, clearly you're going to become one of those people in my book. But that's just, surface level talk right there. I could probably get into that for a little bit, but that would take up the whole fucking video.
First podcast appearance served as some kind of trap. The multiple invitations to the winners' ceremonies also felt like traps, and their first collaborative stage was also a trap. Seniors made fun of them in front of the camera and behind the stage. Now it's the turn of the variety shows. BTS was finally getting some real recognition in 2015. The fandom was truly growing, so Jungkook had his first solo variety show appearance. Jungkook enthusiastically bought food and drinks for everyone as a gift. However, the cast rejected the food and made fun of Jungkook for buying it. They accused him of giving them leftovers. The cast gave the food back to Jungkook and walked away. Jungkook seemed shyer than normal the rest of the episode. These are some comments about what happened. You're missing the point that it's variety. It is part of variety to be rude. It's Korean humor. Jungkook is not the first or the last to be quote-unquote disrespected on TV. It's variety. Let me repeat. It's variety. Acting rude is honestly one of the mildest things that could happen on variety. I honestly wonder how would you guys have survived if this was second generation, where comments on variety were straight up biting lots of times, and games were physical and taxing. And once again, I need to bring back the topic of this video.
If you call yourself funny in my book, or you find yourself as some sort of comedian, even if you're, big and popular, the main source of your comedy comes from being a fucking dick, then you're not so funny, I mean, there's like cold sarcasm and whatnot that you could do, but just straight up putting someone down because you're trying to extend comedy or your dialogue from this little interaction or situation, I would have called him out right then and there. He's better than me. It would have been a whole situation. Now, obviously, they say, comedy, especially going to like stand-up and whatnot, be prepared for anything. But that's a little bit different from what this is. But yeah, that's a whole nother thing to get into is comedy. That's a whole different topic. You can talk about that all day. The boundaries and rights and wrongs and this whole Venn diagram thing where you'll have to have multiple Venn diagrams where this stays on this side, this stays on this side, but they share these qualities and it's,
This scenario, Jungkook is the junior. He is showing respect. He is bringing a gift. But the expectation from him is not just to show respect. It's also to accept humiliation, which he did the rest of the episode, showing no complaints. He even urged fans to stop voting for him, as to not offend the rest of the cast. Not long after this incident, BTS was invited to perform at the Busan One Asia Festival 2016. BTS were included in the promotions. ARMYs bought tickets and tuned into the online broadcast. However, at the last minute, the event posted a comment in the online broadcast which said, "Due to circumstances of the artist, BTS will not be appearing in today's broadcast." This was a lie. BTS had their makeup, outfits, and microphones ready. Their fans were there in the audience, but the show ended and BTS was completely cut. After the performers left the stage, BTS refused to leave, and they performed their full set in a stage with leftover confetti while no cameras were rolling. This type of fighting attitude as a response to bullying and mistreatment must have really pissed off the industry. Remember, the Big Three didn't create any groups in 2013, so no 2013 group should survive. But BTS was not just surviving, they started to become a real threat to their seniors. In this context, it's important to understand the future hostility BTS will receive in the industry. BTS started outselling the biggest of the biggest groups in K-pop. So the easiest thing was to accuse BTS of everything. Big Three fans.
I just want to insert something there. It just really made me think of NF's song When I Grow Up. And dude, it just them performing on stage with leftover confetti. Who knows? Some of their fans may have just really been like, damn, guess BTS not performing. So they left as well. But whoever's left over, just performing, no cameras, no spotlights and whatnot. Dude, that just ignites some type of fire in me. Or pours gasoline on the fire already there. It's just, ugh. Dude, that gives me such a pump because it reminds me of the NF song. There's this one scene. He's just performing in front of like one dude, just chilling out. I don't know, just kind of like, look at some here. I guess I'll listen. And then it switches over to the giant crowds. It's like, you know, trials and tribulations through the struggle. We finally made it after so long.
I just wanna pay my bills, rapping about the way I feel. Oh yeah, I just wanna make a couple mil, leave it to the fam and the will. Oh yeah, I just wanna sign a record deal, maybe buy a house up in the hills. Oh yeah, might not be the best in my field, but I guarantee that I'ma die real. When I grow up, I just wanna pay my bills, rapping about the way I feel. Oh yeah, I just wanna make a couple mil, leave it to the fam and the will. I just wanna sign a record deal, maybe buy a house up in the hills. Yeah, I might not be the best in my field, but I guarantee that I'ma die real when I grow up.
And this other Hollywood Undead song is a group. But it was like, I played 1 million empty shows to only family and friends. And hearing that for the first time, ooh, that just lit something in me because just practicing 1 million empty shows to only family and friends, meaning there was no family or friends. That even came to that. That's tough. And then boom, they made it big. Just keep going. Anyway, enough of my my little path that I created there. Back on the main trail.
Accused BTS of the illegal practice of sajegi, which basically means that they were buying their own albums. This was at a time when BTS's label didn't have the means to do something like this, especially to the point of outselling the Big Three. Big Three fans accused BTS of mocking the music of Big Three groups when they were just singing along to it. Big Three fans accused BTS of copying multiple Big Three groups, from outfits to common phrases. When BTS received their first music show win, when they held their own concerts, or had any special moments, Big Three fans joined forces in movements of hate so big that BTS has addressed these campaigns multiple times. Just because BTS started outselling everyone, Big Three fans called award shows customer service and made petitions to the Blue House to investigate BTS and award shows. BTS was brought to court and they of course won their case. They organically outsold the Big Three. But many of their fans still believe that for some reason their groups were being sabotaged. You can easily find these fans today. After all these petitions, BTS still won major categories at Mama 2017. And at the award show, a Big Three group cried. If you search for any of these videos, Big Three fans are still convinced in the comments that their favorite group was crying because they were robbed. Some accused BTS of cheating, while others accused the award show of being biased and favoring BTS, ignoring that BTS simply had the biggest year any K-pop group had globally up until that point. Now you may think, who cares about baseless accusations by fans? This is just a fandom thing that went too far. If senior groups would not even acknowledge BTS backstage, do you really think they wouldn't join this hate train as well? The odds really are against them, but that's behind the scenes, so we don't know with certainty. What we know is that after the hate campaign started, as always, BTS continued fighting. They performed at the Gaon Music Chart Awards in February of 2017. During their performance, the organizers at the event showed a very generic no-signal background, but apparently a big three artist used it first, specifically a YG artist. A YG stage producer then posted a picture of the background on her Instagram account with the caption, or hard work, and a puzzled emoji, insinuating that BTS's stage is YG's hard work. BTS copied them. The family of two of the members of the YG group liked the post, which motivated Big Three fans to accuse BTS even harder. Now, it was not just fan wars. The family and producers of Big Three groups were then involved, and no statement from Big Hit or the award show themselves clarifying that BTS was not in charge of the background could stop it.
방탄소년단.
방탄소년단. 방탄소년단.
방탄소년단.
방탄소년단.
방탄소년단.
BTS.
BTS started 2017 with this terrible situation, but as I've mentioned, their attitude of never letting others stop them finally started paying off. In 2017, BTS became the first Korean group to receive a nomination at the Billboard Music Awards. They attended and won, so that year they had their American TV debut at the American Music Awards. Now the roles start to shift. The ones with popularity, money, power, and sometimes even seniority are BTS. Big Three groups were then losing major awards for the first time ever. And despite their losses, they somehow managed to be the big ending performance at award shows, leaving audiences confused as to why the actual biggest group was not getting the biggest stage. But most times, Big Three groups would simply boycott the shows. If they are not given awards, they are not attending and they are not performing, sometimes making their company's juniors protest with them. Now, while at the top, BTS continues choosing to do something I don't know I could do. They choose to forgive. After that, underground rapper turned K-pop idol dissed RM, BTS, and other small rappers. RM met him backstage and they high-five. Although they are not friends, they really do seem fine with each other.
디스하고 하셨고
네.
RM님도 바비님의 의도를 알기 때문에 맞받아서 맞디스 해주고 하면서
네.
재밌는 그림이 나왔는데
그렇죠.
In 2021, BTS was invited to the variety show hosted by the comedian who rejected Jungkook's food and made him feel uncomfortable. Jungkook reached out to him privately before the show, and during the actual show, they laughed and hugged.
더 멋있어진 것 같아요, 진짜.
나쁜 표현은 늙었다.
아니, 저는 그렇게 표현한 적이 없습니다. 저는
피자기 전에도 제가 문자 드렸어요.
Although his brother added fuel to the fire by liking that plagiarism post, BTS seems to be okay with this singer. Jimin even collaborated with him. TV networks that mistreated BTS are now apologizing. That underground rapper who insulted them in their first podcast appearance asks for forgiveness every couple of years to get some attention because he always retracts his apology. And on top of everything, celebrities we thought never had problems with BTS are now jokingly telling the members in their own show that they also disrespected them back in the day. Every year, there's a reconciliation with no real public apology. Having mistreated BTS in the past and being good with them now is almost an achievement. It's something to be jealous of. But what about the feelings of that small group crying in their car after being humiliated on TV and behind the scenes time and time again? What about the hundreds of groups being bullied to disbandment because of unprovoked confrontations started by way bigger performers?
안녕하세요, 방탄소년단입니다.
It's amazing and incredibly mature that the BTS members are continually choosing to forgive and move on, even purposefully hiding the identities of the idols who mocked them in their debut years. But what comes as extremely difficult to process as fans is the overall feeling that comes with this new performative respect given to BTS. And I'm saying performative because many times this respect comes with this backhanded compliment of I show you respect because you have power, not because I actually respect you as an artist or person. When celebrities talk about BTS, how many times have we heard, how can you say that? Armies are going to kill you. I didn't mean it this way. Please don't come after me.
괜찮겠어요?
모자이크 처리 좀 해주시겠어요? 둘, 셋! 잠깐만, 뭐야?
나 BTS를 진짜 좋아하는데
나 잠깐만.
님이 경고했잖아.
BTS 선배님 얼굴은 다 외워.
This attitude is not new. Remember that the big three rapper didn't diss his actual competition, not because he respected them, but because he was afraid of their power. So when celebrities start showing that they are okay with BTS despite past controversies, they keep highlighting the idea of respect because of power and not because of actual respect. It feels not genuine, and sometimes it's proven to be not genuine. Sometimes apologizing to BTS gives someone attention. It creates jealousy. So how can we even begin to distinguish which one is genuine? And also, should we even think about it? I've noticed that the BTS fandom is very welcoming to anyone who associates with BTS. It doesn't matter if they are famous singers, song producers, backup dancers, or interviewers. This is an overall good attitude, but we need to remember that at the end of the day, this is an industry. The mainstream entertainment industry doesn't always have the exact same type of dynamics between juniors and seniors that K-pop has, but the idea of respect because of power and not because of actual respect exists as well. And just because someone working with BTS treats them nicely or compliments them non-stop doesn't mean that they are friends or that they truly like BTS's work. I'm not the one saying this, BTS is. RM said, "We run into several kinds of artists overseas. There's a kind who are like, oh, you guys are famous these days. Good job, I guess. Go for it." And seem to look down on us a little. And those who are all business and go, I really want to do a song with you. And then there's a third category of people who are oddly positioned between those two. As an exception to these three categories, RM mentions Chris Martin of Coldplay. And by the way, this is the only friendship BTS had a section for in their book. Knowing BTS's story, it's normal for fans to highlight the good interactions. It's nice to see that after everything they went through, BTS are finally receiving respect and common decency.
The first one, the kind of like good job, whatever, blah blah blah. Yeah, forget them. The second, all business. I mean, this is the business that, like it or not, that you got to see that coming from a mile away. Granted, you won't know who those people are until you meet them, or something like this happens. But I mean, can't be really too shocked by that. Even as someone that's not in the business. It's just the third, aka Chris Martin's category. Solid. We like Coldplay. We respect Coldplay. I don't know much by them, but the respect is definitely there for sure.
But the respectful interactions we see on camera are not always what they look like. And I believe we shouldn't be pressured to thank, celebrate, and follow the other celebrity for being respectful. Unless I'm an actual fan of their work, I'm not following anyone who says hello to BTS. But that's just me. At the end of the day, the BTS members are the ones deciding to move on. They are finally in the position to brush off the bad interactions, accept the superficial ones, and forgive the old ones. And one of the reasons they want to move on is because they want to stop juniors and small artists from going through what they went through. BTS never pretends their juniors don't exist. BTS greets everyone around them. BTS doesn't reject their juniors' gifts. They are the ones giving them. BTS gives their juniors encouraging words. Some idols are even surprised that BTS would be kind, which makes me wonder how other seniors interact with their juniors.
근데 정말 놀랐던 게 너무 저희한테 친절하게 해주셔서 제가 너무 감동받았어요. 무대 저희 무대도 칭찬해 주시고 맞아 악수도 하고.
But what we know for sure is that BTS is purposefully using their seniority and fame to change the experience of junior idols.
아니 선배님이랑 진짜 사실 이렇게 대화할 기회가 없으니까
그냥 말 걸면 되는데.
아 이게 말을 못 걸겠어요. 저도 선배님들한테 다가가기가 좀 어렵다고 해야 되나? 저 사실 너무 긴장하고 왔거든요.
왜요?
그 누구보다도 후배들이 오면 상담을 많이 해주는 편이에요.
사실 형한테 너무 감사한 게 그렇게 챙겨주시는 형이 형밖에 없어요. 형한테도 물어봤었어요. 형 왜 그렇게 저희를 챙겨주세요? 약간 형이 우리 아니면 너한테 이런 얘기 누가 해줘?
우리는 선배가 없었잖아. 선배가 없었고. 너무 힘들고 근데 우리는 물어볼 때도 없었고 내가 안 챙겨주면 누가 챙겨주지? 라는 생각이 좀 많았었거든.
사실 이런 선배님이 많이
I love that. As a person, you should strive to, there's always going to be a negative side. That's just natural. But on the positive side of things, be in sync with your heart, mind, soul, body, all of those things. And Suga seems to really strive towards that, I would say. Because we've even heard past songs in the Yoongi Dive where he would talk about this exact thing. Things for younger artists, look towards me, or maybe this song would help, and this and that and whatnot. So we definitely know this information from Yugi himself.
다고 생각해. 찐으로 너무 감사하고 형한테
대인배라고 느껴지는 모먼트가 있잖아요. 취향이 얘기했던 대로 나는 그럴 사람이 없었다. 근데 본인은 해주잖아요. 나도 저런 선배가 돼야겠다.
나한테 돌려줄 필요는 없고 후배들한테 이렇게 넘어가면
그냥 공식적으로 하고 싶은 얘기가 그냥 저희는 형들이랑 선배를 뒀잖아요. 당연히 선배님들이 본인들 입으로 얘기하지 않으시겠지만 진짜 이런 사람들이 없다니까요, 세상에 그냥.
Here's some of the translation of one of the many BTS songs about the dynamic between juniors and seniors and how they want to change it. It could be a strenuous journey. The path I walk may have looked like it's made of flowers, but know that it was a thorny one, with enemies surrounding on all sides. I hope you never forget those who throw flowers onto your path for you. When you're smiling, don't ever forget about those who are crying, because it's your smile that helps them live through the day. When the repetitive schedules erase you, it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to take a brief rest. Cry out loud when you become to hate the world. When the hands that used to greet you turn into fingers pointed at you. You surviving on snoozes to get closer to your dream. It's okay to rest. Today at least, don't even dream.
Snoozes.
When you silently show me a faint smile, only then I feel a little relieved. This place is a war zone without gunshots. Your peers are your enemies. The brutal yet beautiful good and evil, determined by numbers. When I fail to kill someone else, I become the one to die. Why do I have to kill someone when this scene is not a boxing ring? I hope you never laugh at someone else's misfortune, because you never know if you'll find yourself in the same situation. Behind you, growing a dream while watching me. I'll always be standing, so don't worry too much. If you're afraid of falling, I'll gladly catch you. So don't suffer like I did.
그제서야 비로소 마음이 조금 놓여 Dream.
Seems like that was it. Yeah, solid video yet again. From not again from Voracity, but just video in general. But yeah, solid from Voracity magazine here. Some of those clips we've already been through, so obviously this is more like a re-upping on information and seeing how it goes with pairs off with some new information that we got from the video. And where we can store it in our library of knowledge with the old information as well. So it's always good to relive those moments, re-up on knowledge. It's like these videos or notes as well. Appreciate the recommendation for the video. And let me know down in the comments how you feel about it, any thoughts on it, where you stood back then or where you stand now, maybe something that changed. Maybe you've always been a fan, who knows? I think I've only seen one comment on my channel that were for the other side of things, as in they openly said like, hey, I didn't like BTS, in a more harsh way, of course, but they've come to be a pretty big fan, so anything could happen, who knows?
Yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna leave it there, and I'll see you guys on the next video.